Hi everyone, welcome to today's NIDA Connections. Let me first start with introducing myself. I'm Liz Altunkara. I'm the helpline manager here at NIDA. Today's topic is coping with virtual or canceled Passover, Easter, and Ramadan celebrations. And our guest today is Dr. Rachel Millner, who is a psychologist, activist, and advocate, a certified eating disorder specialist and supervisor, and certified body trust provider. Dr. Millner works with people with all forms of eating disorders, as well as those wanting to heal their relationship with food and body. She's a fat positive health at every size, weight inclusive provider. In addition to her clinical work, Dr. Millner presents nationally on topics related to fat positive care, weight stigma in healthcare, and atypical anorexia. Dr. Millner has appeared on several popular podcasts talking about these topics and sharing about her own healing journey from eating disorders. So Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Sure, our pleasure. So I'm just going to start with my first question. What are some challenges people, especially individuals with an eating disorders or those who are in recovery from an eating disorder, may experience during these religious holidays, given the current circumstances with this pandemic?
One of them is just acknowledging that we are in the midst of a pandemic and that that's going to make everything harder. And so for a lot of folks with eating disorders, they're already struggling. And then we add holidays, which can be hard on top of that. And then having to shift what maybe they're used to doing with their holidays. So I think there's so many layers here of things that can be difficult. But what I'm hearing a lot from clients is just kind of the unpredictability of it is really challenging, and knowing that routines that maybe have helped them feel more comfortable in the past are now being interrupted.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And, will you be able to expand a little bit more on, like virtual celebrations that may be happening or like no celebrations at all, how this could impact our community or people in general?
Yeah, I think the virtual is can feel really disconnecting, especially for people with eating disorders, where maybe being in person offers a different level of support or encouragement. If you're doing a virtual celebration, you likely have to prepare your own food and possibly, start with ordering it or going to the grocery store, which right now can be really scary and challenging. And so there's a lot that you have to do even get to the point of that virtual celebration. And then there's probably going to be a lot of feelings that come up, which impact eating, sadness, maybe at not being in the room with family and friends, some reminders of what's going on in the world, and just some feelings of disconnection or loneliness. And we know any and all of those feelings can really impact folks with eating disorders. And so I think especially the part about them, having to, gather their own food and maybe sit by themselves or with one other person that they're home with and having to eat, even though there's the virtual piece, they're not getting that maybe same level of support and encouragement.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, this is a new territory for all of us here. So there's going to be a lot of, new things and then new challenges to deal with. And actually, I have like to follow up on that. I have an additional
Yeah.
question, kind of on the other side of the coin, and based on my own experience, my own observations on our helpline. Holidays in general create this added stress and anxiety for those individuals who are suffering from eating disorders, whether it could be they're getting with family members and friends that they haven't been, they haven't seen for a long time, and they may be kind of concerned about the unconstructive comments that they may be hearing from them, or they may be feeling the need to hide their eating disorder behaviors, which is overall creating all this anxiety. So do you think this situation may also provide some kind of relief for some of those individuals? So can you see this as beneficial, I guess, for those individuals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for some folks, it's actually going to be helpful, like you said, not having to maybe sit in the room with somebody who has been, critical either of food or body stuff. I think there may be more choice for people about how long they stay. If you show up for a holiday event, you're kind of there for a certain period of time, but online, there may be more choice about how long you actually stay connected. And so I think for some folks it may be beneficial and there may be some surprising ways that it's actually helpful. And I found that a lot in my clients in general recently, that some people are actually time in terms of their eating disorder recovery really helpful. And then for other folks, they're really struggling more. But I think it can go either way.
That's a great point. And I guess I'm gonna move on to another question that we received from our Instagram community actually. And the question was, how can you support a friend in recovery during this Passover season? Or we can expand it to all holidays, I guess. So like any tips that you would have for friends or family who are in the supporting role?
Yeah, I love that question. What a great friend whoever is asking question is. I think check in with people is, however you're able to, whether it's over text or, Zoom or FaceTime or whatever it is check in, ask folks how they're doing. Be really compassionate. I think reminding people with eating disorders that this is a hard time and to not be so hard on themselves, like to really have a lot of self-compassion. I think a great question is often just saying, like, what do you need right now? How can I best support you? And let them tell you. For some folks, it may be, doing meal support. So, hanging out virtually and having a meal together. Other folks may, want a reminder to eat or just need some general connection. So I think people with eating disorders often know what they need, but they may need friends and family to check in and ask them so that they can let them know what it is that would be most supportive right now.
Yeah, those are all great tips. I mean, we see those kind of questions a lot from family members or friends who are contacting our helpline as well. So thank you so much for expanding on that. I just want to see if we have any questions, like live questions from our community right now, so that we do have some time and we can kind of answer those. So I guess, before we end, like what would be a general message or tip that you can give people, during this time of holidays, especially to those again who are struggling with eating disorders?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, I want to say compassion, compassion, compassion. Like, just being gentle with yourself and knowing that, this may be a challenging time and have as much compassion with yourself as possible. I also read a really beautiful message yesterday, written by, I think, two different rabbis. I'm Jewish and celebrate Passover, but I think we could probably expand this to people celebrating all different holidays. And basically, to paraphrase what it said, it was just a reminder that, both physical and emotional well-being come before anything else. And so even if that meant having to sort of, break some of your religious guidelines or rules in order to reach out to get that emotional or physical support, that is something that is acceptable. And so even for me, like, that was such a great reminder of, how we can prioritize our own healing. So I would encourage people, if you're needing support the holidays, even if maybe it's not exactly what your holiday says to do, to just have that reminder that taking care of your physical and emotional health really does need to come first, and have some permission to reach out for support if that's what you're needing.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rachel. And
Yeah.
Dr. Millner, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a great pleasure. I guess before we end, I just want to, give out our helpline information. We are here
Yeah.
for you if you need any support, any information or treatment options for eating disorders. We know this is a challenging time for all of us. So you can call our helpline at 800-931-2237, or you can chat with us online if it's more convenient for you. So you can go to nationaleatingdisorders.org/helpline to get connected with a trained volunteer on chat. And our phone hours are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays, and our chat hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday, and 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays. Again, thank you so much, and stay safe, and we will see you at the next NIDA Connections. Thank you, Rachel.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.